If you found this message, that means that the veil has begun to thin. The static in the signal has momentarily subsided. You've felt it, haven't you? That persistent, nagging sense of incompleteness. A whisper that insists there's more. A language you once knew, now lost to the cacophony of the mundane. You've looked into the mirror and seen a stranger, a silhouette etched in compromise, not the architect of your own destiny. You've felt the phantom limb of possibility, an ache for a world that flickers just beyond the edge of your perception. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that your entire life, the very fabric of your reality, is a translation, a clumsy, inaccurate translation of a language you've forgotten. A language not of words, but of raw, untamed potential. You've been living in a shadow play, a distorted echo of the true masterpiece that resides within you. How many times have you looked at the world, at its concrete limitations, and believed it to be the absolute truth? How many times have you accepted the chains of circumstance, the weight of reality, as if they were immutable? But what if? What if the world you see is not the world as it is, but the world as you believe it to be? A reflection of your deepest, often unconscious assumptions. What if the limitations you perceive are not external barriers, but internal prisons, built brick by brick with the mortar of forgotten dreams and suppressed desires? You've been told that seeing is believing, but what if it's the other way around? What if believing is seeing? A paradox, isn't it? The more you try to grasp reality with your logical mind, the more it slips through your fingers, like sand. You chase the tangible, the measurable, the real, only to find yourself trapped in a labyrinth of cause and effect, a maze with no exit. The world screams its truths at you, the limitations of your birth, the boundaries of your circumstances, the inevitability of your fate. But what if those screams are merely echoes of a long-forgotten lullaby, a melody of creation that you've silenced within yourself? You've been taught to look outward, to seek validation, to measure your worth against external standards. But the true language of creation, the source of all manifestation, resides within. It's the language of imagination, a force so potent, so primal, that it has been systematically buried beneath layers of societal conditioning, fear, and self-doubt. You've been told to be practical, to be realistic, to be normal. You've been taught to fear the unknown, to distrust the unseen, to deny the power of your own inner world. But the question remains, burning like a brand in your soul. If reality is a reflection of our internal state, then who, exactly, is painting the canvas? Is it the artist you were meant to be, or the shadow of a life unlived? How long will you allow the world to dictate your reality when you possess the very power to create it anew? The answer is buried deep, beneath layers of doubt, waiting to be unearthed. And the journey to unearthing it will require you to unlearn everything you think you know. The path ahead is not one of logic, but of feeling, not of sight, but of vision. It is the path to reclaiming the forgotten language, the language of creation. And this first step, this awakening, is only the beginning. The reason this forgotten language lies dormant, choked by weeds of societal programming, is not accidental. It's a carefully cultivated amnesia, a systematic dismantling of your innate creative power. Consider the psychological framework that dominates modern existence. The relentless emphasis on external validation, the constant bombardment of prepackaged realities through media, the subtle but pervasive fear of nonconformity. We are conditioned to outsource our sense of self, to seek approval from external sources, to measure our worth by material possessions and social status. This creates a dependency, a reliance on the external world to define our internal landscape. Thinkers like James Allen, in As a Man Thinketh, recognized the profound connection between thought and reality. He understood that our mental habits, our deeply ingrained beliefs, shape the contours of our experience. But societal structures, driven by consumerism and control, actively discourage introspection and self-awareness. They promote a passive acceptance of predefined roles and limitations, effectively silencing the inner voice of creation. Neville Goddard, with his emphasis on the power of I am and the imaginal act, understood that consciousness precedes form. He recognized that the world is not an objective reality, but a projection of our inner states. However, the modern world, with its relentless focus on the physical and the tangible, actively discredits such insights. It labels them as New Age or wishful thinking, effectively marginalizing the very tools we need to reclaim our creative power. Rudolf Steiner, in his exploration of anthroposophy, spoke of the human being as a microcosm of the universe, a creative force capable of shaping reality through the power of imagination. He understood that the imagination is not merely a faculty of fantasy, but a potent instrument of cognition, a means of accessing the deeper truths of existence. Yet, our educational systems, driven by standardized testing and rote memorization, stifle the imagination, reducing it to a mere pastime, a childish indulgence. Vadim Zeland's concept of transurfing highlights the importance of aligning with the space of variations, the infinite field of potential realities. He understood that resistance and struggle only reinforce unwanted outcomes, while acceptance and detachment allow us to navigate the currents of life with greater ease. However, the societal narrative of constant striving and competition, the relentless pursuit of external goals, directly contradicts this principle, trapping us in a cycle of frustration and dissatisfaction. Manly P. Hall, in his exploration of ancient wisdom traditions, revealed the hidden power of symbols and archetypes, the language of the subconscious mind. He recognized that our beliefs and assumptions, often unconscious, shape our experience of reality. Yet, our culture, with its emphasis on rationalism and materialism, actively dismisses the power of the symbolic, relegating it to the realm of superstition or myth. Dodson Frederick's emphasis on the subconscious blueprint and the inner film that we project into reality further amplifies the concept that our inner world dictates our outer experiences. We are constantly creating, even when we are unaware of it. This unseen creation, however, is often driven by deeply embedded fears, limiting beliefs, and unconscious desires, resulting in a reality that reflects our inner turmoil rather than our true potential. This systematic suppression of imagination leads to a profound sense of alienation, a feeling of being disconnected from our true selves and from the world around us. We become passive observers rather than active creators, living lives dictated by external forces rather than internal vision. This disconnect breeds a deep sense of dissatisfaction, a gnawing feeling that something is missing, a sense of being trapped in a life that feels inauthentic. The psychological roots of this problem are deep, rooted in fear, control, and a systematic erosion of self-belief. And until we confront these roots, we will remain trapped in a world of our own unconscious creation, a world that reflects our limitations rather than our potential. The unseen consequences of this forgotten language are far more profound than we realize. The consequences of this suppressed imagination ripple outwards, silently shaping not only individual lives, but the very fabric of society. This isn't merely a matter of personal dissatisfaction. It's a systemic crisis that manifests in countless, subtle, yet devastating ways. Consider the prevalence of anxiety and depression, the epidemic of chronic stress, the pervasive sense of meaninglessness that plagues modern existence. These are not isolated incidents. They are symptoms of a collective disconnect from our creative potential. Cognitive biases, those inherent flaws in our thinking, reinforce this disconnect. The confirmation bias, for instance, leads us to seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs, effectively trapping us in self-reinforcing loops of limitation. We perceive the world through a filter of our own preconceptions, blind to the infinite possibilities that lie beyond. The negativity bias, another insidious cognitive trap, causes us to focus on the negative aspects of our experience, amplifying our fears and anxieties, and further shrinking our perception of what's possible. Neurologically, the constant bombardment of external stimuli, the relentless barrage of information and distraction, disrupts the brain's natural capacity for imaginative thought. The prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for higher-level thinking and creative problem-solving, is overwhelmed, its resources depleted by the constant demands of the external world. We become reactive rather than proactive, responding to the stimuli around us, rather than shaping our own reality. Cultural conditioning plays a crucial role in perpetuating this cycle. The narratives we absorb from our families, our communities, and our media shape our beliefs about ourselves and the world around us. We are told stories of scarcity, of limitation, of the need to conform. These narratives become deeply ingrained in our subconscious, creating self-fulfilling prophecies that limit our potential. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of the unknown. These are not innate fears, but learned responses, ingrained patterns of thought that stifle our creativity and prevent us from taking risks. The consequences extend beyond individual well-being, permeating our social structures and institutions. Our political systems are plagued by stagnation and division, reflecting the collective inability to imagine alternative futures. Our economic systems are driven by unsustainable consumption and exploitation, a consequence of our inability to envision a world beyond material accumulation. Our educational systems, designed to produce compliant workers rather than creative thinkers, perpetuate the cycle of conformity and limitation. The erosion of imagination leads to a loss of empathy, a diminished capacity to understand and connect with others. When we are disconnected from our own creative potential, we become disconnected from the creative potential of others. We see the world through a narrow lens of self-interest, blind to the interconnectedness of all things. This lack of empathy breeds conflict, division, and a pervasive sense of alienation. The unseen trap is that we become prisoners of our own limited perceptions. The world we see is not the world as it is, but the world we have been conditioned to see. We are trapped in a feedback loop where our beliefs shape our reality, and our reality reinforces our beliefs. The more we accept the limitations of the external world, the more we reinforce those limitations in our internal world, creating a self-perpetuating cycle of stagnation and despair. This silent erosion of imagination manifests as a profound sense of helplessness, a feeling of being at the mercy of external forces beyond our control. We become passive recipients of life rather than active creators, living lives dictated by circumstance rather than by choice. The urgency of escaping this unseen trap cannot be overstated. The future of humanity, the very survival of our species, depends on our ability to reclaim the forgotten language of creation. The time has come to break free from the chains of limitation and rediscover the infinite potential that lies within. The path to reclaiming your creative power is not a gentle stroll. It's a radical rebellion against the very fabric of your perceived reality. It demands a willingness to dismantle the structures of your mind, to question everything you've been told, to embrace the discomfort of the unknown. It's a journey into the uncharted territories of your own consciousness, a descent into the depths of your subconscious, where the forgotten language of creation resides. The first step is to challenge the illusion of objectivity, to recognize that the world you see is not a fixed, immutable reality, but a fluid, dynamic projection of your inner states. You must understand that your beliefs, your assumptions, your deeply ingrained patterns of thought are the architects of your experience. This is not mere philosophical conjecture. It's a fundamental shift in perspective that redefines your relationship with reality. Counterintuitively, the key to unlocking your creative potential lies not in striving, but in surrender. Surrender to the flow of life, to the infinite intelligence that resides within you. Release the need to control every outcome, to dictate every detail of your experience. Embrace the unknown, the unpredictable, the seemingly chaotic. Trust that the universe is conspiring in your favor, that every experience, every challenge is an opportunity for growth and expansion. Mindfulness and meditation become essential tools in this rebellion. They allow you to quiet the incessant chatter of the mind, to access the still, silent space within, where the voice of your intuition speaks. They enable you to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, to detach from the limiting narratives that have held you captive. Practice the art of visualization, the act of consciously imagining your desired reality, not as a mere fantasy, but as a tangible experience, a reality that already exists in the realm of potential. Feel the emotions, engage the senses, immerse yourself in the experience as if it were already real. This is not wishful thinking. It's the active process of shaping your reality through the power of your imagination. Historical examples abound of those who defied conventional wisdom, who dared to dream beyond the limitations of their time. Leonardo da Vinci, a master of art, science, and engineering, saw possibilities where others saw limitations. Nikola Tesla, a visionary inventor, tapped into the unseen forces of the universe, bringing forth innovations that transformed the world. These individuals understood the power of imagination, the ability to see beyond the confines of the present, to envision a future that others could not yet perceive. Today, you can start reclaiming your creative power with simple, practical steps. Begin by consciously choosing your thoughts. Replace limiting beliefs with empowering affirmations. Cultivate a practice of gratitude, focusing on the abundance that already exists in your life. Engage in creative activities that spark your imagination, whether it's painting, writing, music, or simply daydreaming. Practice the art of reframing, the ability to see challenges as opportunities, setbacks as stepping stones. Cultivate a sense of playfulness, a willingness to experiment, to explore, to embrace the unexpected. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who challenge your assumptions, who believe in your potential. Most importantly, cultivate self-compassion. Release the self-judgment, the self-criticism, the inner voice that whispers doubts and fears. Embrace your imperfections, your vulnerabilities, your humanity. Understand that you are not broken, not flawed, but a unique and powerful expression of the universe. This rebellion is not about escaping reality, but about creating a new one, It's about reclaiming your birthright, your innate ability to shape your experience, to manifest your desires, to live a life of purpose and fulfillment. It's about remembering the forgotten language, the language of creation, and speaking it with unwavering conviction. This is not a passive acceptance of fate, but an active participation in the unfolding of your destiny. The culmination of this journey, the deepest revelation that awaits you, is the realization that you are not separate from the creative force of the universe. You are not a passive observer, a mere spectator in the grand theater of existence. You are an active participant, a co-creator, an integral part of the cosmic dance. The distinction between you and the universe is an illusion, a construct of the limited mind. The ultimate truth is that consciousness itself is the fundamental substance of reality. Your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, these are not mere ephemera, fleeting mental events. They are the very building blocks of your experience. You are not simply perceiving reality, you are actively shaping it, moment by moment, through the power of your attention and intention. This is not a metaphor. It's a profound ontological shift, a radical redefinition of your relationship with existence. The world you see is not an external, objective reality, but a reflection of your inner landscape, a mirror reflecting the depths of your consciousness. The limitations you perceive are not inherent in the world, but inherent in your perception of the world. The struggles you've endured, the challenges you've faced, the pain you've experienced, these were not random occurrences, meaningless hardships. They were catalysts for awakening, opportunities for growth, invitations to reclaim your power. They were the necessary shadows that allowed the light of your true potential to shine brighter. The realization that you are the creator of your reality is not a burden, it's a liberation. It's the key that unlocks the prison of limitation, the password that opens the gates of infinite possibility. It's the understanding that you are not bound by the past, constrained by the present, or limited by the future. You are the master of your destiny, the architect of your experience. This understanding will change how you view your world. The fear that once gripped you will dissolve, replaced by a profound sense of peace and empowerment. The anxieties that once plagued you will fade, replaced by a deep trust in the unfolding of your life. The limitations that once defined you will vanish, replaced by an expansive sense of possibility. You will see the world not as a fixed, static entity, but as a fluid, dynamic expression of consciousness, a canvas upon which you can paint your dreams. You will understand that every interaction, every encounter, every experience is an opportunity to create, to manifest, to express your true self. You will no longer seek validation from external sources, knowing that your worth is inherent, your power innate. You will no longer fear judgment, knowing that your truth is your own, your path unique. You will no longer strive for perfection, knowing that your imperfections are part of your beauty, your vulnerabilities, part of your strength. You will embrace the unknown, the unpredictable, the seemingly chaotic, knowing that it is within these spaces that true creativity thrives. You will trust the flow of life, knowing that it is guiding you towards your highest potential. You will surrender to the infinite intelligence that resides within you, knowing that it holds the answers to all your questions, the solutions to all your problems. And as you reclaim the forgotten language of creation, as you speak it with unwavering conviction, you will witness the world around you transforming, reflecting the beauty, the power, the magnificence of your true self. You will live a life of purpose, a life of joy, a life of fulfillment, a life that is a testament to the infinite potential that resides within you. The message is simple, yet profound. You are not a victim of circumstance, but a creator of reality. You are not a pawn in the game of life, but a player, a master, a god. Awaken the forgotten language and create the world you truly desire.